Hello and welcome to Talking About Scythe. I felt the knives were appropriate. Look out how pretty this is. Today, they are my weapons of choice. Scythe is sort of a utopian future where we have solved all disease. People do not die. We are immortal. But the world still has limited resources, which requires people to still die. Which is why society has scythes. These select people who are chosen to kill people. They're supposed to be these very moral people so that, they don't go off the deep end. They don't become serial killers for the fun of it. These people are treated like royalty and celebrities because nobody wants to get on their bad side. Our main characters are Citra and Rowan, and they are both chosen to be apprentices to Scythe Faraday. And his idea is to train 2 apprentices and then pick one. The other one gets to go back to their normal life, but there's sort of a faction growing within the Scythedom of people who do enjoy the killing and want that to be more glorified, and they sort of put pressure on their main council to punish Scythe Faraday, one of those very moral Scythes who takes killing very seriously, and they say, whichever apprentice wins will glean the loser. Gleaning is pretty much a really nice way of saying murder. I'm gonna go into details of the story, so if you have not read it, go read it, come back so we can discuss it. Goodbye. We start with Citra with her family, who's like a normal teenage girl. She's kind of an overachiever. Scythe Faraday shows up to her house because he's hungry and he needs to glean the neighbor, and she's not home yet. So Citra's mother makes him dinner. He offers her immunity. That's one of their things. All these guys have these big rings that people can kiss. It takes in their DNA, gives them immunity from any scythe gleaning for a year. He sees something special in Citra and he tells her, you would make a good scythe. And she says that's something she never wants, and he's like, that's exactly the reason you would be a good one. We move our perspective to Rowan, who is very different from Citra. He calls himself a lettuce kid because he's the middle of lots of children. That's kind of a side effect of this society, people living forever. They'll just have multiple families. But Rowan's not exactly as smart as Citra. A scythe shows up to Rowan's school and he's going to be gleaning the star quarterback. And Rowan's like, that's our quarterback? And it's really interesting because this scythe kind of chooses his victims in a way that emulates the old world. This kid's pretty popular, he's kind of a partier, he would drunk drive. So out of these high schoolers, he's the one who's likely to end up dead. The scythe allows Rowan to stay as moral support. Citra and Rowan both get invited to go to the opera, and Citra shows up and she's like, this is my parents trying to set me up on a date. No, they're both going to be Scythe's apprentices. If Citra or Rowan are going to become a Scythe, their old lives are gone. People want immunity, they want things from you, they're scared of you. Citra thinks her parents are going to be completely against her becoming a Scythe, but instead they're like, this is a good thing. You would be good at it. You'd be a good murderer. At the same time, a Scythe's whole family is immune from gleaning. She's like, oh, is that why you want me to be a Scythe? And they're like, we're not worried about us. We're worried about your little brother, Ben. So Citra's gonna do it. Rowan's gonna do it because he just kind of goes with the flow. I feel like he's just like, whatever. Scythe Faraday, their master, their Yoda, says he's not going to tolerate any romance between the two of them. Sir. Our first inkling of these different type of Scythes, not the honorable ones, the ones who enjoy killing, is on a plane, and all these people are getting on it. They're talking to each other. First of all, they don't have B seats. They don't have middle seats anymore. When can I get to this future? I hate middle seats. Middle seats in an airplane are the bane of my existence. I do not want to be close to other people. And they all have these vibrant robes embedded with jewels, because you can pick your robe as a Scythe, and they've chosen very flashy outfits. They are living the celebrity life, and they have decided to kill everyone on the plane. This is not normal. Usually gleanings only happen one at a time. They pick out one person to choose the order of all the people that are gonna get killed. And their main Scythe, their leader, the one in the blue robe, is really awful. He says things like, I am your completion, give thanks to me. He's insane. So throughout the book, we get these diary entries of a lot of the different Scythes, but most of them are from Honorable Scythe Curie. And she brings up this really interesting point, is that everyone's immortal and they have all these nanites in their bodies. So if they feel too much of an emotion, it'll dull it for them. But they also can't feel super happy because they don't know the lows of sadness. So she's making this argument that, humans now are no longer really human. So beyond learning the ways of the Scythes, Citra and Rowan are also learning a lot of physical fighting, and they have to take tests about poisons and stuff like that. And of course they're worried about their first test, and Rowan is like, I think I might fail. And Citra's like, I do not fail. Even if you fail this first test, you're not disqualified. So we're getting ready for the first conclave, and Citra's like, Scythe Faraday, you told them there's 2 of us, right? I know this isn't normal. Rowan's like, of course he told the Scythedom. Faraday's like, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission sometimes. And I really liked seeing the hierarchy within the skies. Like, obviously there are the ones that are more respected and more powerful. Like, there's the old guard skies who are like the honorable people like Scythe Faraday, and then these new kids who want to take out a whole plane. But then there's like the apprentices that are like, they just made it. They don't want to talk to new apprentices. They think that's stupid. And some of these older apprentices call Rowan a spat, which is like a spatula because he's flipping his guy's burgers. And Citra comes in with the burn. So if we're spatulas, what does that make you? Safety scissors, or are you just a bunch of tools? There's a complaint brought up where Scythe Goddard is being cruel during his gleanings. The whole point of their job is to kill people without so much suffering that there was in the old world. And Scythe Faraday is like, Scythe Goddard accused himself because if people don't stand up to their accusations, then it'll get dismissed. So it's brought up, and then Scythe Goddard is like, I want whoever said that about me to stand up and tell me to my face. Nobody does because he was the one who gave the complaint, and so now he's off free without having to answer for his awful tactics, which is smart despite how annoying he is. Time for the first test at Conclave, and it's Scythe Curie asking them questions. Scythe Curie asks Citra, what is the worst thing you've ever done? Citra does not want to answer this question, even though she's in front of people who have murdered thousands. And Citra comes up with this thing about pushing a girl down the stairs, and Scythe Curie is like, you're lying. Like, I know you're lying. Rowan also lies and doesn't say the worst thing he's done to kind of fail with Citra. And so people are like, you know what? Maybe training them together isn't a good idea. Look at how loyal they are to each other. One of Scythe Goddard's groupies is like, I don't like the way Scythe Faraday is doing this. How about we add in only one of them can make it? They're gonna have to kill the other one at the end of the apprenticeship. Scythe Faraday goes off in front of the conclave, but it doesn't matter because these awful skies have, their head guy in their back pocket.
While we were all watching, he got Washington in his pocket.
Makes things a little awkward for their crush, though, because they're gonna have to kill each other. The only difficulty I had with this book was not feeling the romance between Citra and Rowan. So when they find this out, it makes sense that when Scythe Faraday is away, Citra goes and kisses Rowan because she does have feelings. I just, reading it, did not feel that as much as I did, my interest in the plot. And Citra's very logical. She's like, there, we kissed each other, it's out of the way, we don't have to think about it anymore. You should know I'm not falling in love with you. And now that this is happening, that's gonna stay that way. The skies have their own version of, the 10 Commandments. I believe it's, the 7th one that says only a Scythe can kill a Scythe. They can only kill themselves. Somebody shows up and they're like, Scythe Faraday invoked the 7th Amendment, he gleaned himself. The whole idea is this is kind of out of guilt, and he has died because these apprentices of a Scythe that dies are allowed to go free back to their normal lives. So that's kind of what he was trying to give them. But instead, skies have stepped up to take over their apprenticeships, and they're going to be split up. Citra is going to Scythe Curie, who we've seen her journals throughout the book, and she seems like a very level-headed person. Rowan is going to Scythe Goddard. Big yikes. So Citra goes with Scythe Curie for a gleaning, and she says something, questions her, and Scythe Curie explodes, yelling at her to get on the ground, bow down to me. And it was all an act. Afterwards, she's like, Citra, dear, it was just to keep an image. She really likes Citra, and they had this weird dynamic that I really liked. I completely forgot to mention that people are connected to the Thunderhead, which is the cloud. I still don't know how the cloud works. We're in 2020. Where does it go? How does it stay there? How does it know everything? How come I can't get anything back down from the cloud? Apparently, they call the cloud the Thunderhead. It has achieved consciousness. Apple has taken over the world. And it's people can talk to it, except for skies. There's this very clear separation of the Thunderhead takes care of everything, and the skies deal with death. Meanwhile, Rowan is at this huge party that Scythe Goddard is throwing. These days-long parties. Scythe Goddard is an evil Gatsby killer person. And there's this little girl there, and I'm wondering why? Turns out she is the daughter of Xenocrates, their head guy of their region of the Scythedom. He is not allowed to have a child. And so, because Scythe Goddard knows this, he has Xenocrates in his back pocket, whatever he wants. He even gets Xenocrates to almost drown himself. So there's also, in this society, a cult of tonists. They worship sound forks.
Who's in charge here? Claw is our master. Claw chooses who will go and who will stay.
This is ludicrous.
I feel like that's going to become a thing later, and I'm really interested to see where this goes, because this is such like a unique part of their society. So Rowan is struggling because there is a part of him that enjoys the release of killing someone. With Scythe Faraday, Rowan is remembering him saying, like, do not become a killing machine. Like, if you take the emotion out of it, you're gonna become a killing machine. And he's feeling himself going numb because he's getting so much practice. They're making him practice on these dummies. He'll kill tons of them at once, so it becomes kind of ingrained in his mind and he doesn't care anymore. And he's starting to feel that. But it's interesting because Scythe Goddard comes right back and he's like, don't become numb. Feel happy about this so you don't become a killing machine. And so they go on another killing rampage. He's pretty much their weapons caddy. Scythe Goddard is, again, delivering his mantras. He's kind of preaching at these people while they're getting killed, and Rowan is running around trying to get people out of the building. We get this journal entry from the world's first Supreme Blade. So pretty much the first president of Scythe. This is our experiment. Like, the Scythedom is an experiment. And he's like, if it fails, there is an out. And I don't want us to have to do that. And I don't know what it is, and I have a feeling we're gonna find out. Rowan is tasked to play with Esme, this girl that Goddard is keeping around that is actually Xenocrates' daughter, but like, Rowan does not know that. And he's like, why are you here? And she doesn't know either. She just knows that they take care of her. She feels kind of special. Also, she has a crush on Rowan. I was like, oh, no, 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 no. Because Rowan is with Scythe Goddard, all these young Skies are like super into him. And they show up to the next conclave and everyone's like, oh, Rowan, you're so amazing. Citra comes over. Don't pay attention to her. You're gonna kill her in a few months. Excuse me. Citra could beat all your butts. Sorry, Rowan, but Citra is definitely better at this than you. She's got skills that we just have not seen yet. So the apprentices at this conclave are matched up to fight one another. So obviously everyone just wants to watch Citra and Rowan fight each other. She purposefully loses. Citra. And even while they're fighting, Citra noticed that like he's physically like gotten stronger. He looks stronger. And so finally I was like, okay, now I feel like some actual chemistry between you two. Let's just say it. Rowan got hot in the past couple months, but still she loses to him and he knows what he has to do. The only way he's going to lose to Citra is to be disqualified. So he snaps her neck, which is against the rules. She drops to the ground. Excuse me. I know that he knows, that everybody knows that she's gonna go get revived at the revival center. I was still not okay though. After Scythe Goddard like kind of threatens Xenocrates with letting the cat out of the bag that he has a daughter, he says, my greatest mistake was choosing you as an apprentice all those years ago.
You done messed up, Aaron!
And Goddard gets him to jump into that pool and pretty much drown himself because he's very weighed down by all of his gold. Scythe Goddard's like, I'm gonna kill your daughter if you don't jump in the pool. Shh. And so he jumps into the pool and Rowan saves him. Citra gets accused of Scythe Faraday's murder. And you want to know why? Scythe Faraday was an idiot and he left behind a note saying that if I die, it's by her hand. He didn't mean Citra, but he didn't specify. They even ask her, like, were you working for a tone cult? So I'm guessing the tone cult is going to be very, like, antagonistic toward the Skies. They're not going to become leaders. I don't see them as leaders in this society. So they want her to sign a confession, and she's like, I'm not going to sign it because I didn't kill him. So she decides to take off and splat herself so that she doesn't have to sign this thing, and instead is dead and goes to a rejuvenation center. While she is dead, but her brain is awake. The Thunderhead talks to her again, and she's like, why are you doing this? I am an apprentice of a Scythe. And he's like, not while you're dead, you're not, and this is the loophole for me to talk to you. And he tells her to go find Gerald Vandergans. Citra's talking to Scythe Curie about this, and she's like, it's about me? Scythe Faraday took Scythe Curie on as an apprentice, and they fell in love. And she's talking about him and like how he was training her. Apparently he was super hot when he was young, and I was just like, what is happening? What is going on? So they broke the 9th commandment because they fell in love with each other. So they're tracking Citra down, and Scythe Curie's like, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go pretend to be a wanderer around the tone cults. And simultaneously, Scythe Curie is sending her on like a little mission. So Citra finds who she thinks is Scythe Faraday's killer, and she shoots him in the knee. It's Scythe Faraday. Excuse me, what? So that person that the Thunderhead told her to go find, Gerald Vandergans, is Scythe Faraday's real name, Gerald.
My real name is Eugene Fitzherbert.
I have magic hair that glows when I sing.
What?
Scythe Goddard, his little crew, and Rowan show up to a Tonus cult. Scythe Goddard's like, we're gonna kill them all, and Rowan, you're gonna kill people today. Because he's allowing him to kill by proxy, which is allowed if you're an apprentice. And while they're gleaning all these people, Scythe Volta took out a classroom of children. Like, that's what breaks him. He's killed himself. Chomsky sees it, thinks that Rowan killed Volta, so then Rowan has to kill Chomsky. So then Rowan also kills Goddard, sets the whole thing on fire because Scythe would have gotten rejuvenated if they weren't burnt. That's the only thing that you can't come back from is burning. So he has to burn the whole place down so that Goddard can't come back. So he runs out and he's like, this is a Scythe action, like you can't save the building, even though there's all these firefighters right there. And then Xenocrates, he knows. A lot of people know. He's actually grateful to Rowan for doing that. And he's like, you know, maybe I should just call off this investigation. So they go to their final test, this last conclave that they're supposed to be at. Citra has to kill her brother Ben. He's actually there. Like, I was like, is this some sort of like simulation type of deal, like Divergent? But no, he's actually there. They're gonna rejuvenate him. So it's not like he's her first gleaning, but still, like, the idea of killing her brother is just like, Citra's like, absolutely not. I mean, that's how a lot of people fail this test, is they refuse to kill someone they love. And like, they watch how she does it. This is part of their test. Like, how does she kill him? Is she merciful? Is she too willing to do it? Like, all these different things. So she kills him with a knife, and it's like, it's really creepy and also really sad. Ben wants to look at the knife. They talk about it beforehand, and then she kills him. And she asks, you know, what did Rowan do? Like, what did he choose? And they're like, he picked up the pistol and fired before we finished the instructions. What? Like, I know Rowan's not like that, but he's trying to keep up a facade. Like, maybe that was his idea to get out of it. Like, did he want to be disqualified because he was too willing to kill? But like, there's literally nothing either of them could do. If he got disqualified, then Citra wouldn't have to kill him. And everybody wants to see one of these apprentices kill the other. And they choose Citra as the Scythe, which, duh. Like, I knew that was coming. She chooses the name Scythe Anastasia after Anastasia Romanoff, which I was like, I really like that name, but also like, everybody goes by their last names, the last names of all their patrons, so I don't know why she gets to go by her first name, but whatever. And she chose to name herself after Anastasia Romanoff because the Russian czars were all very like over the top and extravagant, and Anastasia did nothing of particular note. And that's why she chose her, because she doesn't want to be an outstanding Scythe. She just wants to be a good, normal Scythe, which, I mean, we all know that's not gonna happen because she's destined for something amazing. And Rowan is like, it's gonna be an honor to be gleaned by you. She has a different plan. She punches him for breaking her neck, but the purpose was to break the skin and get his DNA on her ring so that he could not be gleaned for a year. And so when she goes to kill him, obviously everybody's ring starts glowing, like, don't kill him because we have our DNA in the system. So everybody's like, oh my gosh, so we have to arrest Rowan for a year so that Citra can kill him? And Citra's just like, run!
Yeah, you go! What are you doing? Go!
She takes him to this car. Go find Scythe Faraday, who's alive. He says that he loves her. She's like, same here, get lost. And then like Scythe Faraday's in the car. I'm just like, Rowan is just like, what? What is happening? Okay, so we go a little bit into the future, and it's the gleaning journal of Honorable Scythe Anastasia. And she's like, there's someone out there seeking out the corrupt Scythe and killing them. He's not a Scythe, but people are calling him Scythe Lucifer. Dark. She's like, if I ever come across him, I hope that he sees me as one of the good ones, as he once did. I've already started the next one, and things are getting good. I'm not good for my life. I would compare it a lot to The Giver, actually. They're both these like utopian societies where people have forgotten how to be humans. Like, everything is so, like, in this one there's no color, everything's just black and white, they live these very monotone lives, and in this one people live forever. And so, like, there's nothing for them to achieve because everything's taken care of for them. The Giver is very much like the Scythe, where, like, the Scythe has to take care of all the death, the Giver has to feel all the emotions and has to know all these horrible things about the past. I feel like these two go so well together. In the next one, we're already learning a lot more about the Thunderhead and, like, how it works. So good. Like, it's been so long since I've been this excited about, like, a whole trilogy. This is like a 10 out of 10. So good. What did you think? Did you think Rowan was gonna get it? I did not. I believed in Citra the whole time. To me, Citra is the main character. Please like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to talk about more book stuff. My name's Katelyn. Thanks for watching. Bye!